Hello guys, welcome here to another edition of Out of Turn 4. And boy, we have a lot to cover today on the show. Of course, we're going to recap Martinsville. A lot of silly season dominoes just foul in the last week. And a driver just got cleared. Sorry, got something stuck there, but yeah, so we're going to have a lot to talk about as far as that goes. We're also going to make our predictions for Phoenix. But we begin with Martinsville. Let's get right into it. Ty Gibbs, he wins the Martinsville Xfinity Series race. His 6th win of the year, his 10th career win in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. But it probably was his most controversial victory he's ever gotten. I gotta say that. And probably the most controversial one we've seen in a long time. Now, we're also going to talk the Cup Series. There was some controversy there, at least controversy brewing after that race. So, we'll talk about all that. But I just want to start with Ty Gibbs. Of course, Ty Gibbs, the 6th win. Of course, the last lap, it was, I believe, the 2nd or 3rd overtime in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race, and Ty Gibbs and Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones was given the okay. They told him, do what you've got to do to win the race, go to the championship 4. That was his only hope of getting to the championship 4, was winning the race. So, of course, he pushes Ty Gibbs out of the way, very lightly, mind you, because he knows it's a teammate. And, of course, Brandon Jones goes to the lead. He clears going down the front straight on the white flag lap. Then Ty Gibbs goes in, plows his teammate. And it wasn't just a little hit. It wasn't a get him out of the groove kind of hit, regardless of what Ty Gibbs says. Brandon Jones goes spinning with his back end drilling the wall, of course, bringing out the caution and making Ty Gibbs the winner of the race. Of course, afterwards, probably the most boos I've ever heard for a driver in my life. And again, I heard Bubba got booed pretty bad at Martinsville, but I think this was worse. Man, nobody liked that when Ty Gibbs seemingly jumped out of the car and said, come on, bring it, I don't care. Then, of course, he goes on Sirius XM and says, well, Jesus was hated too at first. I've had a few days to process this. Of course, Brandon Jones has also said, before I dissect it, Brandon Jones also said basically he's lost all respect for Ty Gibbs. And, of course, he's glad to be moving on to Junior Motorsports in 2023. Now, I didn't hear much of the interview because I heard a lot of thank you grandpa chants in the background, so I had to go on Twitter to find the full interview and kind of re-listen to it. Also wanted to hear why they were, or what they were chanting, because both of them going at the same time, I couldn't dissect either. But first off, Ty Gibbs well in the wrong. And this is your weekly reminder here on Out of Turn 4. Ty Gibbs ain't mature enough to be in the Cup Series. And frankly, that move doesn't even belong in Xfinity or trucks, okay? Again, it's one thing to move him out of the groove, and all you had to do was hit him lightly. You didn't have to slam him. And, look at Ty Gibbs' front bumper. That was a slam. There's a difference between a slam and a bump. Okay. I don't see it as something that needs to be suspended, but I see it as something that's going to get repaid on the track. I mean, all the Junior Motorsports guys rallied around Brandon Jones. And, this is the situation again. I've said it. This move does not belong. Let me put it this way. He does this move in the Cup Series, he's going to get his ass beat. Don't matter what driver it is, that driver's going to kick his ass, okay? And he can say praise Jesus all he wants. It's not going to stop him from getting a couple black eyes. Okay? And if you think Harvick will roll over, or Logano, and I point to those drivers specifically, but mainly Harvick, you think Harvick's going to let that one go? Absolutely not. Harvick will punch him in the face. Knock a couple teeth out. as a matter of fact. Same with Denny Hamlin. He does that to Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex. You think the fact that their teammates is going to stop that? Not a shot. Okay? Absolutely not a shot. It'll stop it. I will give credit to Brandon Jones. He had every right to go over and kick his ass after that race. Again, something I don't think suspendable. It's not like, he right reared him. But we just had an incident. And again, this incident's different from the bubble one. But definitely, doesn't deserve a suspension. I'm going to keep saying that throughout the show. But something that certainly just solidified the fact that Ty Gibbs won't win this title. I'm just telling you right now, it solidified that fact. Because I could tell you, if Junior Motorsports gets to him, and Junior Motorsports has been really good this year. They'll be close to him on the track. If you don't think they're going to get a hold of his car on, in the middle of the race on Saturday, if you don't think Brandon Jones, if he can get there, is going to do something, you're sadly mistaken, because I think it's going to happen. I think he just solidified he will never win an Xfinity title. And we've already seen it with the Cup guys. And again, this is something Ty Gibbs needs to look in the mirror this offseason and really think about it. And it's not just the matter of Junior Motorsports or just the fact that he dumped Brandon Jones. It's a lack of awareness on his part. Again, his teammate, Brandon Jones, would have been the only other Toyota in the Championship 4. Okay? Think about that for a second. He just gave a free spot to Justin Allgaier to make the Championship 4. Again, free spot given to him. A spot that his teammate could have very well had, and those two could have dueled it out at Phoenix with Josh Berry and Noah Gragson, and I would have felt strongly about that. And I believe Coy Gibbs even kind of agreed with what I'm saying right now. But again, lack of awareness. And again, I go back to what I said at the beginning. This move does not belong in any of the top 3 NASCAR series. This move belongs in ARCA. Okay? You want a race like that, you can go back to ARCA. Plain and simple. Don't be bringing that stuff to the Cup, because I assure you, someone's going to kill you. Not literally, I mean like beat his ass. Kill you. That's what I mean. But, again, we go from one extreme to the next. Can I just say Christopher Bell's 3rd career win, his walk-off win, just got overshadowed by something else. But Christopher Bell, he walks his way into the Championship 4, much like he did the round of 8, winning the elimination race. 3rd win of the year, 4th career win. It is Christopher Bell's first ever Championship 4 appearance in the NASCAR Cup Series. But again, overshadowed by one thing, and it's Ross Chastain. Ross Chastain raced in, took the final spot. And of course, doing so on a video game move, set the new track record at Martinsville, and rode the wall all the way to the finish through 3 and 4 and beat Denny Hamlin. So your Championship 4 in the NASCAR Cup Series is going to be Chase Elliott, who's led the points practically the whole way through the regular season. It's also going to feature Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, and Ross Chastain, the guy that everyone said was not going to make it, was in no position to make it entering turn 3 of the final lap, and he beats Denny Hamlin. I've got to talk about that video game move. That race was so dull, I don't want to even talk about how bad that race was, but the finish was remarkable. Just remarkable. Congratulations to Ross, and I love that move. That's different from this one, because he didn't wreck Denny Hamlin to get in, which I thought he needed to do, and I was rooting for it. And, it's good to see Denny Hamlin not absorb and kind of take a playoff spot that he knows he has no business taking. And again, let me clarify to those, everyone's all, oh, well, Denny didn't make it. That sucks. Denny's just always had bad luck. I don't, you got to feel bad for him. I don't feel bad for Denny Hamlin, okay? Denny Hamlin's a dirty driver. He's he's another whiner just like half his teammates are. I don't feel bad for him, to be honest. Okay? In fact, I liked seeing him in the post-race interview. I wish we could see more of that. Okay? Again, maybe he's a good person. I don't, good in person. Don't know. Probably will never know. But at least the stuff I've seen on the track just makes me not like him. Plain and simple. Again, I point out, if you say, well, everything, and I had someone debate with me last night saying, well, or a couple nights ago, well, Denny's not a dirty driver, he just races people the way they race him. Well, explain the Brad Keselowski incidents, explain the Joey Logano incidents, okay? He provoked those, okay? And I've watched replays, I've watched the videos. I know he provoked them, okay? Now, fast forward to the Chase Elliott incident, which is the one that really, made me lose all respect for Denny Hamlin. Same thing, almost similar to what Ty Gibbs did in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. So, and again, but the reason I say Denny Hamlin was a waste of a championship 4 spot, he loses it every year. It's a guarantee. It's one of my favorite guarantees every single year is that if he gets in the championship 4, I'm like, well, it's between 3 drivers because he'll find a way to screw himself or his pit crew will find a way to screw it for him. So, in Ross, I feel like he can win the race, honestly. I feel like this is a track he can win at. He did finish second here at Phoenix earlier this year, so he's definitely going to be a favorite to win the title. I can't wait to see what happens. Maybe he'll do that again in turns 3 and 4. We'll see. But can I just call out? I've got to call out half the guys who've made a living here on YouTube. Sorry, if you watch those guys, but I'm going to call them out right now. I believe I saw David Land. Might have been Jet Krause as well. Both those guys calling for rule changes to prevent one of these video game moves ever again. Let's look back at the history of the video game move, and the most prominent one was Carl Edwards in 2008 at Kansas. Didn't pay off. This is probably the first one, and again, Kyle Larson at Darlington, another one, didn't pay off. Okay, there are so few of these that pay off in the end of the day. That do you really need a rule for the first time it's actually happened? Everyone says they want to see these drivers have a fire, have a passion, ultimately have that competitive spirit in them. And we have not seen this in a while, and Ross has that, okay? Quit trying to change, you can't be for wanting these drivers to have that passion, that fire, and also want rules to prevent them from having that passion and fire, okay? I get the safety aspects, but at the end of the day, you're putting yourself at risk. You've signed the waivers. You've filled out the life insurance policies. You've filled out your wills, okay? You've signed everything. You do it to you're doing it to yourself. I mean, the best thing you can do is just tell the drivers to defend it better. Okay? Just tell the drivers to defend it better. Okay? You'd be crying. You're crying about that. You'd be crying about the fact if he wrecked Denny Hamlin to get in. And he very well could have done the same thing Ty Gibbs did on Saturday to get into the championship 4. He could have done it to Chase Elliott. And boy, if he did it to Chase Elliott, no, we would have never heard the end of it. But, oh my goodness, to those YouTubers, seriously, I don't want to flip you the bird, but man, you guys just, I just don't get why you want the rule. Okay, look, and another thing we can look back at is Indianapolis, the road course. Of course, at the Indy road course, Ross Chastain used that access road to essentially take the lead, and of course, they penalized him for it. There's a difference here. Ross Chastain did not exceed track limits. You can't exceed track limits on an oval, okay? He found an advantage within the track limits, and he took advantage of it. You know what? You want a caution for the fact that he's in the wall and go back to the last scoring loop? I don't. Okay? I don't. As long as he's not dropping debris, who the hell cares? Okay? It's not. And the catch fence is there for a reason. Another comment I saw was the catch fence, oh, well, the fans could get hit with the debris. That's what the catch fence is for. Okay? That's why seats got pushed back after Talladega. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe some of those seats got pushed back after Talladega 09. So, it's just fans that want to whine and cry about everything. But, I'm a fan of the move. I hope it continues, and I hope we keep seeing that kind of passion from these drivers. So, but I don't want to waste any more time on this. We've gone practically half the show so far to talk about that. Let's go to the news. Alex Bowman has been cleared to race at Phoenix, and good to see Alex Bowman back. Again, that was another right rear crash that could have ended much worse. It's good to see him back. I just wish it was Kurt Busch. Not that I don't want Alex Bowman back. I do. But, the one I think everyone's waiting for is Kurt Busch to return, and unfortunately it just didn't happen this year. But I'm glad to see Alex is good enough to come back, and good to see Noah Gragson get some seat time in a really good NASCAR Cup car. So, again, and Phoenix has been good to Alex Bowman. Maybe he could play spoiler. You never know. Austin Hill. We got to talk about Austin Hill for a second. He might not even be racing at Phoenix. I'm not sure if you saw. Another reason NBC absolutely sucks, is the fact that they missed this fight between Austin Hill and Myatt Snider, where Austin Hill practically sucker punched, practically KO'd Myatt Snider on the pit lane. I don't imagine he'll be racing at Phoenix, but who knows. I can tell you where he will be racing in 2023. He'll be back at RCR in the Xfinity Series, I'm sure, but he will be joining Beard Motorsports in 2023 for a part-time Cup effort. Of course, Beard Motorsports, the team that has run Daytona and Talladega every single year, with the exception of 2021, where they only attempted the 500 and missed the field. But again, he'll run both Daytona Talladega races for the team. It was also announced he will run Chicago Street, and he will also run Michigan for Beard Motorsports. So an expanded schedule for the team. I imagine a big RCR affiliation is the reason behind it. So good to see Austin Hill behind the wheel of essentially a third RCR car, of course, and good to see Beard Motorsports back. I believe this was one of my predictions if we go back to the NASCAR Silly Season show that we did. I believe that was one of my predictions, was Austin Hill in a part-time effort at Beard Motorsports, but I didn't expect an expanded schedule. Good to see that team, of course, continuing without their owner. Of course, their owner passed away a few years ago, so good to see them back. And, of course, Brendan Gaughan now a part of the team as well in an administrative role, so even happier to see them come back for another year. Boy, Parker Kligerman, big career comeback, a comeback win at Mid-Ohio, one that ultimately set this up. And Parker Kligerman is going to be in the driver's seat full-time in 2023. He has announced he will be joining Big Machine Racing full-time in the number 48. So, man, I'm telling you, I'm so glad to see Parker not just in an Xfinity ride, but in a competitive Xfinity Series ride. Of course, the last time I believe he was full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, he drove for KBM when KBM existed as an Xfinity team. So you know how KBM's disastrous Xfinity efforts went, so I don't need to repeat it, but this is such good news for Parker. Talk about a guy who deserves it. You know, Parker deserves this more than anything. He's worked so hard, especially in lesser equipment, so it's really good to see him get a shot with a team that's pretty well affiliated with RCR. Can't wait to watch him drive that big machine spiked coolers car next year. I believe that's what they are sponsored by, of course. David Gilliland Racing was once DGR Crosley, then became DGR. Now it's become a whole new team. It is Tricon Garage, and they've confirmed something that was kind of a terribly kept secret after Kyle Busch joined RCR. But DGR will move to Toyota starting in 2023 in the Craftsman Truck Series. They have already announced their driver lineup too, and of course it is TRD driver Corey Heim that will be behind the wheel of one of the cars. I believe he will take the one car from Hailie Deegan. And then of course Tanner and Taylor Gray, they will also be joining the team next year, or rejoining the team. Taylor, of course, keep in mind, will not be eligible to run in the first 3 races as he's 17 years old. He needs to be 18 to drive on tracks that are not short tracks. And then, of course, the team will have a 4th full-time entry in 2023, or 4th part-time entry in 2023. So, big news for DGR. Glad to see them wanting to run with Corey Heim, and glad to see Corey Heim get a shot full-time in the trucks. I just hope this team doesn't have too many growing pains. That's the one thing I fear, because I feel like Corey Heim's a very talented young driver. He's definitely going to be one that I think is going to be one to watch to move up to the Xfinity Series in a year or two. So I just hope DGR doesn't, or I'm sorry, Tricon Garage doesn't necessarily ruin that for him. Of course, they haven't exactly been great with Ford, so that's why I'm a little concerned. I'm cautiously optimistic to see how Tricon Garage does in their first full season as a Toyota team. So, of course, with that announcement, we now wonder what exactly happens to Hailie Deegan and what happens to John Hunter Nemechek. All right, sorry about that. So, Hailie Deegan, I imagine going to Xfinity, same with John Hunter. Of course, John Hunter under contract with Toyota, so he'll probably go to Joe Gibbs, while Hailie Deegan will go probably to Stuart Haas in a second car, or maybe SS Greenlight with a SHR affiliation. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks and months. Oh my God. My apologies. I'm going to have to edit this video quite a bit. But yeah, so anyway, let's make the picks for the weekend. Truck Series at Phoenix. Chandler Smith, I'm picking him to win the race and win the championship. Xfinity Series at Phoenix, I'm going to go Noah Gragson. He's going to win it all. And then for the Cup Series at Phoenix, I'm going to pick Chase Elliott. I just think Hendrick's been pretty good at Phoenix in recent years, and I think they continue that run this year. That's all I got. So, episode as usual next Tuesday. So we will be back next Tuesday. After that, we will be off until the winter, or until late winter. So we hope you'll tune in next week to our season finale. Thank you guys for watching. Tune in to No Final Bell tomorrow. And again, we'll be back with the season finale next Tuesday. Till then, goodbye, everyone.